Hi, my name is Guido Vrola. I am a designer and a photographer. I'm going to do my first video review today because I have found a product that is very new and there is very little information on the internet. But it surprised me very positively, so I decided to make this video review. Before I start, I want to make two clarifications. I'm not sponsored by Neewer in any way. I have bought this product on Amazon at its full price, and I make this review in the total freedom of saying what I really think. And even if I was sponsored by Neewer, there's no way I can say think I don't think because it's a matter of professionality for me. Maybe I could be wrong on some things I can say because I have not the time to test it for a long period. But for what I've seen till now, I am pretty pleased. The second point is that we are talking about a product that costs $400, not $4,000. So our considerations must be compared to this price range. And I don't think that a product that costs $4,000 is 10 times better than one that costs $400. Maybe it has some unique features that those who need it is willing to pay for. But in the end, a strobe is a capacitor that releases power on a bulb in the moment we need it, nothing more. I have always used mid-range products, but I think that in most of the situations they can do a great job if you choose the right products. In the description you can find the Amazon store where you can buy this product, and I think that it is one of the only places where you can find it at the moment. Let's see now the features of these strobes that on the paper are very interesting. What is very important for me in a studio strobe are two aspects. The first is the color temperature, and in particular the persistence of this color temperature of the different power settings. In this case they says it has 5600 Kelvin plus or minus 200 Kelvins. That is a pretty standard value. The second aspect that is important is the flash duration, because we want the light duration to be the shortest possible to freeze the action. Now this is not always important, but is very important in some situations. But if you think at a long time use of this strobe, we want it to be the more versatile as possible. It can be useful in many situations, such as sports or liquid splashes or any fast action we want to shoot. So let's go to see what we have here. The first thing that strikes us when we open the box is this beautiful handbag here. That is quite sturdy. The weak point of these handbags in general are the hinges, but they look good to me. And in any case, considering the way this handbag is done, this is a non-issue for me. Because when you put it on your shoulder like this, you can also open the hinges, but the box can open. So I'm quite comfortable with this. So we can use it without the fear that our strobe can fall on the ground and break. Let's see now what we have inside the box. When we open it, we see we have some sectors In the first one we have the strobe itself, that is quite small and light, but still well done. The battery pack is very small, but still have a good duration. The mechanism to attach it is quite strange, but not impossible. The construction is good, is sturdy. The buttons give us a good feeling. It looks like a good quality level in general. There is an interesting aspect that is that of having an LED model light that stays inside the body of the strobe, and even the lamp is inside the body, and they are protected by a glass that is very thick. And this is a good thing for a strobe that has to be carried around in location, because a simple impact can break the lamp that is quite expensive. I don't know for this model, but in general they are. Another good thing of this strobe is even if the company doesn't sell it at the moment, we have a jack here to plug it to an external power, so in the future probably we can have this possibility. The battery, as I said, is very small, but for what I can test it till now, it has a very good capacity and duration. Company says we can shoot 350 shots at full power with the charge of the battery. I have not tested this number, but for what I have seen, I can say that in most situations this battery can last the whole day. Here we have the knob that permit to orient it. Here we have the screw to fix it to the stand that you put here this way. Now let's see what else we have inside the box. Well, another nice thing we found is the Bowen's ring adapter. That is interesting because it allows to mount the most common and less expensive light modifiers on the market. On the head of the strobe we can directly fix all the Pro-Photo light modifiers. That is good, especially for who already uses this brand. Another good thing is this, because somebody could say that a lamp that is inside the head of the strobe could emit a light that is some way sacrificed because of the shape of the strobe. But using this diffuser, we can diffuse the light in this semi-sphere shape and solve the problem, losing only a very few of the power of the strobe. The strobe, I forgot to say, has 400 watt-second power. That is a very good power for a portable strobe. Another very good thing we find in the box is this trigger. This trigger allows us to pilot up to 4 strobes or 4 groups of strobes by setting the power and the different modality from TTL to manual to high-speed sync. So I can make wireless all the settings of my strobe. The quality is good, good plastic, good feeling. The only thing I can say is that the screen is not so visible when you look it on an angle, so you have to look it from the top of the camera. But this is a very, very small problem. Then here we find a battery charger that, as I said, is only a battery charger and not a power adapter, but I think that on the market we can find something that we can adapt to this flash without any problem. The instructions are here inside. All this looks very interesting. Now we have to test these two aspects that I consider essential, that are the color temperature and the flash duration. And I will show you the result of these tests. And in particular, regarding the velocity of this strobe, I am very, very pleased. It's true that having the high-speed sync, we should shoot at 1/8000 of a second. But it's also true that with the high-speed sync, the power of the flash is very, very small comparing to the real power. For an obvious reason, because having to shoot many flashes consequently, they cannot work at the full power, not even close to the full power. Instead, I would like to understand the real velocity of this strobe at the synchro time. I could not find this information, and if I have found it, they always report the T05, that is the time the flash takes to go from the full power to half power, but this don't mean that you can freeze the action. So the data that we need is the T01 that is never reported for this kind of strobe, so the only possibility is to test it. I did it, and I can tell you with great satisfaction that this strobe is very, very fast. I can say that at 1/4 of the power you can surely freeze a very fast action. The higher the power of the strobe, the longer is the flash duration. So at full power we cannot freeze the action, but at 1/4 we surely can. I've tried to throw this piece of acrylic ice inside this glass full of water to create a splash and see if I could freeze this splash. And I can tell you that at this power range the image is crystalline, as you can see, without having blur even in the smallest droplets. I would venture to say that it's possible to increase the power even to an half in many situations without any problem. But in general, for this kind of shots I don't need much power than this. At least you need more power when you shoot sports where you need a lot of light. But in any case, for this kind of strobe, 1/4 of the power is a very good result for an action that requires very short times. To test the color temperature of the different power levels, I have used this target composed by a white card, a black card and a gray card. I put it on a white plane and shoot it, setting a white balance at a constant temperature of 5600 Kelvin on the camera, and varying only the strobe power and the aperture of the camera in the different shot. Then in Photoshop, using the gray card, I have checked the real temperature of the shot. The results are sorted with what the manufacturer says. In particular, if we exclude the extreme power levels, the result is very, very constant. And I have never had issues with this range of color variations. Even because you don't use in the same shot a strobe at full power and the strobe have the minimal power, so for me this is a non-issue in this range of variation of the color temperature. So I think that these results can be considered absolutely positive for this strobe. Approved. The TTL, I never use it because I want to have a full control of what I'm doing, especially in studio shots where you have the time to set everything properly. I don't think TTL have to be used. In any case, we have it. Is something more that makes this strobe more similar to a speedlight strobe. And like the speedlight strobes, in this strobe we can set the power in a range of 8 stops. And this is good because I have other strobes where you can set the power only in a range of 4 or 5 stops. And sometimes you can load the power enough. The strobe, even at the lower power, emits too much power, and the only thing you can do is to put a neutral density gel on it. So this is a good point for this strobe. Something wrong there will be. Yes, but it is a characteristic that is in common with all these mid-range strobes. That is the model light. In this case, we have a 10 watts LED model lamp that is equal to something like 100 watts of a standard lamp. With the difference that this produces much less warming. And also that it has a small dimension that permits it to stay inside the body of the strobe. The power of the model light in this power range is quite common. It can be poor in some situation when in the set you have a lot of light and it's difficult to see the model light. But as I said, it is a feature that is in common with all this range of strobes. Because a much powerful lamp, whether it is a halogen or LED, it had the need to be cooled down a lot. Because a high temperature can destroy the strobe or the light modifier you put on it. The LED produces less heat, but it suffers itself from a higher temperature, so it can break if it is not cooled enough. So more power, more need for cooling requires a better cooling system, better fans. So to contain costs, they prefer to stay with a lower power model lamp. In this case, however, being that this is a strobe made to be portable, the model light can always stay on. In other strobes, even more expensive ones, you have, when you work on battery, to switch off the model lamp. In this case, the strobe born to be used on battery, so you can always use the model lamp, even because it is an LED lamp that is only 10 watts. So also this is good. I think it's all, at least for what I know. I will use it more and see how it behaves in the long run. In any case, for now, I am pretty happy with what I have seen. As I said in the description, you can find a link to the Amazon store where you can buy it. The price at the time of the review is $400. It's a very good price for what you have. Don't forget to subscribe to see more of my videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time.